Hi everyone, I'm your grade X teacher. Today we're diving into one of the most important topics in SS2 biology, excretory systems. This is a topic that shows up frequently in DWAEC and NICO exams, so pay close attention. By the end of this lesson, you should be able to understand what excretory systems are, explain why living things need to remove waste, identify different types of waste products, and compare how different organisms handle excretion. So what exactly are excretory systems? Think about this. When your mama finishes cooking a delicious pot of jollof rice, what happens to the kitchen? There are dirty plates, leftover food scraps, and cooking waste that needs to be cleaned up, right? Living things work exactly the same way. When cells in our body carry out life processes like respiration, digestion, and metabolism, they produce waste products. These wastes can be toxic if they build up, so they must be removed. This is what excretory systems do. In humans and other mammals, we have a complex excretory system. Our kidneys work like filters, removing waste products like urea from our blood. They also help maintain the right balance of water and salts in our body. But here's what's fascinating. Different organisms have developed different ways to handle waste removal. From tiny single-celled organisms to large mammals, each has found its own solution to this universal problem. Think about waste management in Nigeria. In Lagos, we have complex sewage systems to handle human waste. In rural areas, we might use pit latrines. Similarly, different organisms have evolved different waste management systems based on their environment and needs. Pause the video and think about this question. Why do living things need excretory systems? Look at the options and choose the best answer. When you're ready, continue watching for the solution. The correct answer is B, to remove harmful waste products. This is the primary function of all excretory systems across different organisms. Well done if you got it right. Excellent. Now that we understand what excretory systems are and why they're important, we're ready to explore specific examples. In our next section, we'll look at how tiny organisms like amoeba and paramecium handle waste removal using contractile vacuoles and flame cells. All right, my brilliant SS2 students. Today we're diving into the microscopic world to understand how tiny organisms handle their waste. By the end of this lesson, you'll understand how contractile vacuoles work like tiny water pumps and how flame cells act as biological filters. These concepts are crucial for your WAC and NICO exams. Think about this. Imagine you're a tiny organism living in a freshwater pond in Lagos. Water keeps rushing into your body because of osmosis. Without a way to pump out this excess water, you'd burst like an overfilled water balloon. This is where contractile vacuoles come to the rescue. Let's look at 3 common organisms you might find in Nigerian freshwater bodies. Here we have amoeba, paramecium, and euglena, all equipped with these amazing contractile vacuoles. Notice how each organism has adapted this system to their specific needs. Now let's zoom in on how these contractile vacuoles actually work. It's like having a sophisticated drainage system in your house during the rainy season in Nigeria. The vacuole collects excess water from the cell, swells up, then moves to the cell membrane and expels the water outside. Watch as water enters the cell and gets collected by the contractile vacuole. The vacuole swells up as it fills with water, then contracts to pump the water out. This prevents the cell from bursting due to osmotic pressure. Now let's move to another fascinating excretory structure, flame cells. These are found in flatworms like planaria, which you might find in clean streams around Nigeria. They're called flame cells because their beating cilia look like flickering flames under a microscope. Here's a detailed look at a single flame cell. Think of it like a sophisticated water filter system. The cell has beating cilia that create a current, drawing in body fluids. The waste products are filtered out and collected, while useful materials are returned to the body. The process works through ultrafiltration, just like the water treatment plants that clean our drinking water in Nigerian cities. The beating cilia create pressure that forces fluids through the cell, separating waste from useful substances. Watch how the cilia beat rhythmically, creating a current that draws waste materials into the tubule. This beating motion is what gives flame cells their distinctive name. They flicker like tiny flames under the microscope. Time for some practice. I want you to pause this video and think about this question. When you're ready, Come back and we'll solve it together. Remember, this type of question often appears in wake and NICO exams. Welcome back. The answer is a contractile vacuole. This structure is necessary because freshwater organisms live in a hypotonic environment where water constantly enters their cells through osmosis. Without the contractile vacuole pumping out excess water, the cell would swell and burst. This is a perfect example of how organisms adapt to their environment. Excellent work today. We've explored how contractile vacuoles act as water pumps in freshwater organisms, and how flame cells filter waste in flatworms. These simple yet effective systems show us that even the smallest creatures have sophisticated solutions for waste management. Keep studying hard. Understanding these concepts will help you excel in your biology exams and appreciate the amazing diversity of life around us. Now let's jump into the fascinating world of insects. You know those cockroaches you see around your house? Well, they have their own sophisticated waste removal system that's actually quite amazing. Insects have special structures called Malpighian tubules. These are tiny, blind-ended tubes that are attached to their digestive system. Think of them as the insect's version of our kidneys. Let me show you a more detailed diagram. Here, you can see exactly where these Malpighian tubules are located in the insect's body. They connect between the midgut and hindgut. Now, how do these tubules actually work? They filter the insect's blood, which is called hemolymph. They remove toxic nitrogenous wastes and help maintain the perfect water balance in the insect's body. Here's what makes these tubules really special. They're incredibly efficient at water conservation. This detailed diagram shows how they reabsorb water and important ions while getting rid of waste. Think about this. Why is water conservation so important for insects? Well, many insects live in dry environments where water is scarce. Their Malpighian tubules help them survive in places where other animals might struggle. Let me give you a challenge to think about. Pause this video and consider. If you were designing a water conservation system for a robot that had to work in the Sahara Desert, what features from insect Malpighian tubules would you copy? Recent research shows that these tubules are even more sophisticated than we first thought. Scientists are studying them to develop better water purification systems and even artificial kidneys. So next time you see a cockroach, remember, it's carrying some of nature's most advanced biotechnology. Welcome back, brilliant students. Today, we're diving deep into the mammalian kidney structure. By the end of this lesson, you'll understand how millions of tiny nephrons work together to keep our bodies clean and healthy. Think about this. Every day, your kidneys filter about 180 liters of blood. That's like filtering 36 large water bottles every single day. How do they do this amazing job? The secret lies in tiny structures called nephrons. Each kidney contains about 1 million nephrons. That's like having a million tiny water treatment plants working together. Now, let's break down each part of the nephron step by step. We start with the renal corpuscle. This is where blood filtration begins. It's made up of the glomerulus and Bowman's capsule. After filtration, the liquid travels through a series of tubes. Think of it like the water treatment process in Lagos. Each stage removes different waste products and recovers useful materials. Now let's understand what each part does. The proximal tubule is like the first stage of water treatment. It recovers about 65% of useful materials like glucose and amino acids. The distal tubule fine-tunes the balance of salts and minerals, while the collecting duct makes final adjustments to water concentration. It's like having quality control at the end of the treatment process. Time for practice. I want you to pause this video and try to label the parts of a nephron from memory. When you come back, we'll check your answers together. Welcome back. Here are the answers. The 6 main parts are glomerulus, Bowman's capsule, proximal tubule, loop of Henle, distal tubule, and collecting duct. How did you do? Understanding kidney structure is crucial for your WAC exams, but it's also important for life. Kidney disease affects many Nigerians, often due to high blood pressure and diabetes. Taking care of your kidneys now will serve you well in the future. All right, class. Today, we're diving deep into how the mammalian kidney actually works. By the end of this lesson, you'll understand the 3 main processes: filtration, reabsorption, and excretion. You'll also know why your kidneys are working so hard every single minute. Think about this. Every minute, about 1.2 liters of blood flows through your kidneys. That's like having a small water bottle's worth of blood cleaned every single minute. The first step happens in the glomerulus, where blood gets filtered. Now, let's see what happens during filtration. The glomerulus acts like a very fine sieve. It has 3 layers that work together to filter blood. Water and small molecules like glucose and urea can pass through, but larger molecules like proteins and blood cells cannot. Here's where it gets really amazing. Your kidneys produce about 120 to 130 milliliters of filtrate every single minute. That means in one day, your kidneys filter about 180 liters of fluid. That's like 180 bottles of pure water. But here's the incredible part. 99% of that gets reabsorbed back into your blood. So how does reabsorption work? As the filtrate moves through the different parts of the nephron, the body takes back what it needs. In the proximal tubule, about 65% of the filtrate is reabsorbed. The loop of Henle concentrates the urine, and the distal tubule fine-tunes the final composition. Finally, what's left becomes urine. This contains the waste products your body needs to get rid of, mainly urea, excess salts, and water. The urine travels from the collecting duct to the bladder, ready for excretion. This whole process is happening in your kidneys right now. Now let's test your understanding. I want you to pause this video and solve this problem. If a person's kidneys filter 180 liters per day and 99% is reabsorbed, how much urine is produced daily? Take your time, then come back and I'll show you the solution. Welcome back. Here's how to solve it. If 99% is reabsorbed, then 1% becomes urine. So we calculate 180 liters times 1% equals 1.8 liters of urine per day. That's about 2 bottles of water worth of waste products your kidneys remove daily. Excellent work today. You now understand how your kidneys filter blood, reabsorb useful substances, and produce urine. Remember, your kidneys are working 24/7 to keep you healthy. This knowledge will definitely help you in your WEC and NICO exams. Keep studying hard. You're doing great. Welcome back. Today we're exploring how plants handle excretion. You might think plants don't need to excrete waste like animals, but they actually have their own clever systems. By the end of this lesson, you'll understand how stomata and lenticels help plants breathe and manage water loss. Think about the mango trees in your compound or the cassava plants on your family farm. These plants need to breathe just like we do, but they don't have lungs. Instead, they use tiny pores called stomata. Let's see how this works. The secret to how stomata work lies in the guard cells. These are special kidney-shaped cells that can change their shape. When they swell up with water, they curve and create an opening. When they lose water, they close the pore. It's like having automatic doors that respond to the plant's needs. Now, when stomata are open, something important happens called transpiration. This is when water evaporates from the leaves into the air. You can see this happening on a hot day when you notice water droplets on plant leaves in the morning. This process helps plants cool down and transport nutrients from the roots to the leaves. But what about the woody parts of plants like tree trunks and roots? They can't use stomata because they don't have leaves. Instead, they use structures called lenticels. These are small openings in the bark that allow gas exchange in non-photosynthetic tissues. Here's something really interesting that connects to our Nigerian climate. During the dry season, plants face a big challenge. They need to conserve water, but still breathe. Plants produce a hormone called ABA, or abscisic acid, that helps guard cells close stomata when water is scarce. This is why some plants survive the harmattan season better than others. Now let's test your understanding. I want you to pause the video and think about this question. When you're ready, continue watching and I'll give you the answer. Here's the answer. During the hot afternoon, the plant loses water quickly through transpiration. The ABA hormone signals the guard cells to close the stomata to prevent further water loss, causing the plant to wilt. In the cooler evening, water stress decreases, stomata can open again, and the plant recovers. This is a natural adaptation to conserve water. Excellent work. You now understand how plants handle excretion through stomata and lenticels. Remember, stomata are controlled by guard cells and help with both gas exchange and water regulation. Lenticels allow woody parts to breathe. The ABA hormone helps plants survive drought by closing stomata when water is scarce. This knowledge will help you understand plant adaptations in different Nigerian climates. Welcome back. Today we're comparing excretory mechanisms across three major animal groups: earthworms, insects, and mammals. By the end of this lesson, you'll understand how each system is perfectly adapted to the organism's environment and lifestyle. Let's start with earthworms. These soil-dwelling creatures use structures called nephridia for excretion. Think of nephridia as tiny kidneys. Each earthworm has hundreds of them throughout its body segments. Each nephridium works like a tiny filter. It collects waste from the body cavity through a funnel-like opening called the nephrostome, filters it through tubules, and expels clean fluid through the nephridiopore. This system is perfect for earthworms living in moist soil. Now let's examine insects. Insects like grasshoppers use Malpighian tubules, thin tubes that extend from their digestive system. This system is incredibly efficient at conserving water, which is why insects can survive in dry environments. The Malpighian tubules extract waste from the hemolymph, that's insect blood. They produce a pre-urine that mixes with food in the gut. Water is then reabsorbed, leaving behind concentrated waste. This system uses almost no water, perfect for life on land. Mammals have the most complex excretory system, the kidney with its millions of nephrons. Each nephron is like a microscopic factory that filters blood, reabsorbs useful substances, and produces urine with precise control. The nephron has specialized regions. The glomerulus filters blood under high pressure, the tubules reabsorb water and nutrients, and the collecting duct fine-tunes the final urine composition. This system can produce either concentrated or dilute urine depending on the body's needs. Here's where it gets really interesting. Different environments have shaped these excretory systems in amazing ways. Desert animals like the kangaroo rat have super efficient kidneys that produce extremely concentrated urine to save every drop of water. On the flip side, freshwater fish face the opposite problem: too much water. They have large glomeruli that filter lots of water and produce very dilute urine. Their kidneys work overtime to keep salts in and water out. Time for some practice. I want you to pause this video and think about this question. Which excretory system would be most efficient for an animal living in the Sahara Desert, and why? Take a moment to consider what we've learned. Welcome back. The answer is the mammalian kidney system, specifically one adapted for desert conditions. Like the kangaroo rat, it would have very long loops of Henle to create a strong concentration gradient, allowing maximum water reabsorption and production of highly concentrated urine. Perfect. You've now seen how earthworms, insects, and mammals have each evolved unique excretory systems perfectly suited to their environments. From the simple nephridia of earthworms to the complex nephrons of mammals, each system shows nature's incredible ability to adapt and survive. Welcome back. Today we're exploring the exciting future of excretory system studies. By the end of this lesson, you'll understand how modern technology is revolutionizing this field and discover amazing career opportunities waiting for you. First, let's talk about advanced imaging techniques. Scientists now use electron microscopy to see kidney structures in incredible detail, much clearer than the light microscopes in your school lab. Virtual reality is transforming how students learn about kidneys. Instead of just reading about nephrons, you can now walk through them in 3D. Some universities in Lagos and Abuja are already using VR headsets for medical training. Here's something amazing. Scientists are building artificial kidneys. Using bioengineering, they're creating devices that can do the job of real kidneys. This could help millions of people with kidney disease worldwide. Understanding excretory systems is crucial for solving global problems. In Nigeria, water stress affects many communities, and kidney disease is becoming more common. Your generation of scientists could find solutions to these challenges. Time for practice. Pause the video and think about this question. When you're ready, continue and I'll share the answer with you. The answer is B, virtual reality headset. VR allows students to explore 3D kidney structures, see blood flow, and understand complex processes better than traditional methods. This technology is already being used in some Nigerian universities. Before we wrap up, let's talk about exciting career paths. You could become a biomedical engineer, designing artificial organs, a research scientist discovering new treatments, or a medical doctor helping patients with kidney problems. We've explored how technology is revolutionizing excretory system studies. From electron microscopy to artificial kidneys, the future is bright. Your assignment is to research one modern technology we discussed and write a short paragraph about how it could help solve health problems in Nigeria. Keep exploring, keep questioning, and remember, you are the future scientists of Nigeria. The next breakthrough in excretory system research could come from one of you. Stay curious and keep pushing forward.